TimeEnds Radio. All right, so we have an indie musician here. So you're not originally from San Diego, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. So most people don't know where that's at. But if you remember that movie, That Thing You Do,
Of course.
yeah, they were from Erie, Pennsylvania.
The Oneaters.
Yep, the Oneaters. That's correct. So,
Oh man, that's awesome.
yeah, that's like one of the claims to fame, and it's obviously right on Lake Erie. So that means actually this year it's winning the contest for snowiest city in America. So
What really? Wow. How big is the city?
about 100,000 people. So it's not quite a town, but it's very small. And I was fortunate to grow up there because and when I was about 13 or so and started going to local shows, there was a huge touring circuit that would come through of punk and hardcore bands.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a little kid. I'd have my parents drop me off at this little fire hall down the street, and there'd be awesome. Like now there's some bands that are huge that used to play there to like 25 teenagers,
It's crazy hearing those stories, where I remember, have you ever heard of a band called Puddle of Mud?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, yeah, so they used to play at bars to like 3 people.
Yeah.
And then I mean, look at them now. It's amazing hearing those stories. I love that. And kind of like Slipknot. It's like a guilty pleasure for me. I love Slipknot.
Me too.
I respect the new stuff, but my favorite album's Iowa because it's so angry.
Iowa is very aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dark. It's got a really dark feeling to it.
Yeah, they kind of they kind of built upon the new metal like rap rock of their first album, kind of made death metal mainstream with Iowa.
Yeah. I mean, the production too in Iowa is totally different. I mean, I like, what was it called, Volume 4?
Volume 3, yeah.
Volume 3. Okay, yeah. I like that album too. I like the production on that. I like that raw, feeling instead of like really produced dark. But all right. So how long have you been in San Diego?
Well, January 25th to the day was 5 years.
What made you relocate?
I had a couple friends that, they were smarter than me and they moved out here like over a decade ago. So, I was always like jealous, looking at their pictures, hearing their stories and stuff. And I finally made it out to visit them, or my friend John, at least, who he lived in Ocean Beach the whole time. Right.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I made it out there. I think it was, December 2015. And I had like a normal office job and stuff in Pennsylvania, and kind of like just went through a little bit of a rough breakup. And I was kind of at this like point in my life where it's like, okay, either things are going to go this way, which I can kind of foresee how they're going, or I could throw a curve and everything and go this way. So it was like 29 at the time. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. And I packed my little like Subaru sedan with whatever would fit in there, mostly records and guitars, and then drove across the country by myself for 3.5 days. And I haven't turned back since. I mean, obviously the first year and a half or so was like a building phase. When you move somewhere new, you take temp jobs, you drive ride share, you try to network with people. But eventually I got on my feet, and now I'm very fortunate. I met my fiance out here. So
nice. So it was a good reason you came out here.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that was going to happen, but life naturally played itself out that way. And I definitely feel like I am where I'm supposed to be, for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely a believer. It took me, I mean, because it's as cliche as it sounds, I'm a believer and everything happens for a reason, just based off of experience. So it's a reason why you came out here. Like, you know how you were at that fork and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. You know,
Yeah.
it's great. You know.
And when I think of anyone that I admire, whether it's an author or a musician or an actor, or anyone that I'm inspired by, none of them would be where they are if they didn't take some kind of crazy risk at one point, right?
That is very true. I remember I'm a Metallica fan. I get shit on all the time, but I don't care.
I love Metallica.
They're great, dude. They're great.
Yeah.
I mean, some stuff okay, but I mean, they're great. I like Lulu. Shouldn't have happened.
I've never even heard that record, but I got the opportunity to see them when they played Petco a few years ago, and that was the first time I've ever seen them, and they were amazing.
Yeah, I unfortunately I wasn't able to make it to that one, but I ended up getting one of their T-shirts from the concert. My friend
I wanted one of those. Does it have the Coronado Bridge on it?
In the back, I believe it. Oh, you know what? I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, they had some super rad shirts with like the Coronado Bridge on it, and I was like, man, at the time, like I said, it was a building phase in my life, so I wasn't like thrilled to spend like $55 on a T-shirt, but in retrospect, I wish I had it.
Yeah, it's crazy how expensive they are. Yeah, you saying that, I'm like, fuck yeah, it was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
What the hell? I remember when shirts were like $20. We got concert shirts. How much? $20. All right, here's 100. Give me 4.
Yeah, you could get the fake
5?
ones.
You can keep the change.
Yeah, you could get the fake ones in the parking lot, but they weren't as cool. And yeah, I really like the opening band on that show too, Gojira. In case you couldn't tell, I'm just like a massive music fan. But
I kind of had a little hint.
Yeah, so I mean, as much as I love making music and love, putting songs together and making an album and stuff like that, I also still buy CDs, records, music DVDs, and I really, really miss over this quarantine thing just the most. That's what I miss the most. So I've been watching my old like music TV and stuff, but Metallica show, I just remember like being pretty close up there on the ground and hearing the guns start when they were about to play One, and it's crazy, man. It's surreal. I never thought that I'd see that band live. They're just like larger than life,
Yeah, they're amazing. I had the opportunity to see them, but it was at a festival. It wasn't like their own show because they're here. When they're here, I'm not here. I'm not in California. That's what's been happening. And when I was here, I wasn't able to go the last time. So, but that's cool. So that's interesting. I mean, I can see your background. You got Cannibal Corpse, Cradle of Filth. I mean, we talked about it before. Full transparency, we talked about this already. So you're into like hard heavy metal, but you write indie music.
Yeah, man. It's like food. I don't like not one type of food that I'm going to eat and stick to that. I can pick and choose things from all different flavors and cultures. But heart, I'm still kind of a little kid. That's what keeps me young, Oh, am I still there? It said connection unstable.
Yeah, I lost you for a second.
So yeah, I mean, like, at heart, I'm still like as excited about music and stuff as I was when I was like 13.
Yeah, that's it's music. I mean, takes you back, and I mean that's the point, and makes you feel like a kid.
So like you said, there's guilty pleasure bands. Like, I still love Korn. They were one of the first bands I got into.
I love Korn.
Yeah, I love Korn. I love all the stuff I was into, like as I was a budding teenager, like the Cannibal Corpse, the Cradle of Filth, all that stuff. My mom really loved, it's cheesy, but she really loved like Journey and Bon Jovi, and I still love that stuff too. So I think if you throw all that into a blender and then like add a little bit of indie rock influences along the years, you could kind of get close to where my sound comes from. I definitely think there's a lot of like Deftones and Incubus in there mixed in with some more like contemporary stuff, maybe like Beach House or Coldplay or something like that.
Yeah, I was listening to what's on what's on Spotify, and
Yeah.
it gave me. I'm not saying it gave me like a Deftone feel, or like oh my God, what are they called? Panic Switch. I love that band too. Silver Sun
Was it?
Pickups feel.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it gave me that. If I was Pandora, I would recommend you if you listen to any of those bands. You know what I mean? Like
Thank
you're
you.
you're in the same. It's really good stuff. Just so you guys know, he's got music on Spotify. On what is? Sorry, I actually have all your sites up. That's blinding. Bandcamp and on YouTube as well. So you guys can check out the links. You guys know. I don't have to repeat myself every show.
Yeah, it's everywhere where music you would find it, and I've been fortunate out here to network with some really talented people, like local young filmmakers that have done some videos for me. Ian and Sam Brigg, those guys are amazing. They both make short films and they're into all that stuff. And then I got the opportunity to record a few with a really talented, semi-famous producer out in East County, Jeff Forrest at Double Time Studios. He recorded some of the early Blink-182 and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely checked a few really exciting things off my list in my time out here, and I really feel like every time I make a new attempt to put something out, it has a warmer response, which is awesome, and I've played a few shows locally and then one up in LA as well, but I have a new record. I have a box of What Remains Here, and it's called Rootless. And you can find it streamed everywhere on February 12th. But for the time being, like you were saying, it's on my Bandcamp page, so you can go there and listen to it, or if it's your thing to buy a physical copy or MP3s, whatever you want, or you could just stream it on the 12th. I would appreciate anyone checking it out,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. They mentioned you had a new album coming out. So it's called Rootless?
That's correct.
Dude, that cover is sick.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm really stoked on the cover. So there's this cool site that I came across. I follow all kinds of, visual artists and stuff on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a site called Grab, where it's basically a bunch of freelance visual artists. And I was just browsing through there. And once I saw that one, it really caught my eye. And so I ended up buying it off the artist. And now I own it.
That is a killer cover. If you guys just go to the Bandcamp, links are obviously down below. There's approximately 10 songs. I know. I got asked this last time I had a musician. They're roughly between a minute and a half to about 4 minutes. I don't know why I got asked that. But how long are the songs? Why do you fucking care? It's music. Good music's good music. Just fucking listen to it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. If they're 4.5 minutes, I'm not listening to it. So they wouldn't like Opeth very much.
I know. It's like, if it's 4 minutes and 31 seconds, I'm not okay. 30 seconds, I'm okay. 31, I'm not.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Just listen to the song and enjoy it.
Yeah,
So you have, if I'm reading this correctly, you have 6 albums out?
Yeah. So I think this next one is the 4th full length, and then I think there's like 3 EPs.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Now, I'm going to go down each one, and I would like to know what inspired you to... Fuck, that Daydream EP cover is sick.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, man.
That is sick. You're touching all the feels here. I'm not kissing your ass. Everybody knows me. Like, if it sucks, I will tell you on public radio.
Well, that's actually... I took that picture.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's your Pennsylvania for you. In fall... There's nothing better than, Pennsylvania. It becomes kind of like a horror movie, but in a really cool way.
Oh, dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
For the guys listening on Spotify and all the other, Anchor and stuff like that, Just go to the YouTube or just click on the Bandcamp. Sorry, and you'll see the cover. It's on with the. Is that a church or a lighthouse? I can't see it.
The lighthouse. Yep.
Oh, it is a lighthouse. Okay, it was really small. I have to be my own, research guy at the same time. So, and I let everybody know this. If you ever see me looking down, I'm actually taking notes. So,
that's awesome. Yeah. If you see me looking down, I'm plugging the charger in.
Okay. All right. So Daydream EP, what inspired you to write it? And why'd you call it Daydream? And why the picture?
Yeah. So Daydream EP, I think that was 2015 on there. And I think I had went like 2 or 3 years kind of not making music, always in stuff growing up. And I was just kind of like at this point where I think I was like, obviously I was like working and stuff at the time, but just kind of in a funk or something, I think, and I just randomly started to get inspired again, 2015, it's cool because when you look back through your like iTunes, separate it by year and stuff, all 2015 was like a killer record or a killer year for records in my opinion. I think it kind of all the new music, I was discovering new bands, and then the bands I liked were putting out awesome records. It's like it inspired me to want to do something again. And then I got all these cool plugins in my recording software, and it opened up this whole new realm of possibilities. And I think there's like 4 or 5 songs on that one, but they all came about super organically, and they're all pretty different. But I was just getting into some new sounds and had like a clearer direction for where I wanted to the music in the future. And I think that image accompanied it well. It's there's one guy that happened to be sitting out like on this fisherman pier in the fall it just looks kind of like haunting,
Yeah.
And wow. I thought that like encompassed what I was going for a lot. So that record is kind of it's like super spacey, folky, easy music. Yeah.
Your main instrument's guitar, right?
Yeah, I would say, yeah. I play rhythm guitar. I'm mostly a singer. Like when I've been in other bands, I was just the singer sometimes. Comes to making my own music, like I do everything. I play every instrument, play the drums or program the drum, produce it, mix it. It's like just a passion project, But yeah, rhythm guitar and vocals.
Wow. What kind of guitars do you have?
So I'm not much of a gearhead. Most of that is budgetary reasons.
No, I hear you.
But my father, before he passed away, when I was 18 and I graduated high school, him and my mom saw me taking music more seriously from like age 13 to 18. So they gifted me a Les Paul. And it really, I think it was like the cheapest Les Paul they ever made. It's solid body mahogany and red. The thing's heavy as hell. I think it weighs like 12 pounds. So, but that's been my baby ever since. And now that my dad's no longer with us, it's like, a way to just preserve his memory and still carry that on. That thing like transcends time, and Gibsons have like a lifetime warranty. So I plan on keeping it forever.
Wow. That's yeah. And do you like record all your music with that guitar?
For the most part, yeah, unless I'm an acoustic. I have like a semi-nice Yamaha that's like, under $600, but for me and for people, that's a decent chunk of cash, right?
That's you said $600?
Yeah, around $600.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
it is.
I bought like a pretty nice Yamaha acoustic electric around $600, and for the last couple of years I've worked at an acoustic guitar company, so I got one of their like mini-sized travel guitars, and I record with that too. So I have those 2 acoustic guitars, my Gibson, and then I have a bass guitar that I at a local music store in Pennsylvania on a sidewalk sale, $80. So
wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like my music instrument collection is kind of like the land of mismatched toys, right? And it's like,
Yeah, the you know, like my instruments, they're all, you know, some are hand me downs, and I mean, I don't think I've spent a lot on them, but like,
that that Les Paul in the background's real nice looking. The sunburst.
this one here, yeah, that actually belonged to an old friend of mine. He passed away. He was my drummer in my band, and that was his guitar. And
Wow.
you know, his parents said, you know, if you want, you're a guitarist, you can take it. And I said, okay.
Wow.
So I've had it since 2007. Shout out to Zach. You know, I've recorded one album with that, and I had it upgraded, and you know, I did some work on it, and now I have it hung. Actually, that it's symbolic the way I have it set up, because that's my right there. That's my very first guitar I've ever owned,
Oh wow.
like legit mine. And then that one's him, and you know, we were in a band together, so symbolic.
Is that other one an Ibanez or?
No, it's actually a Jackson, '92 Jackson Dinky Reverse.
Nice.
Yeah, the
Pretty
thing.
metal, huh?
Yeah, you know, I would play rock and punk and love songs on that thing. I would get made fun of because I have a Metallica sticker. It's that red thing, and it says, you know, it screams metal, and then you have me up there with, oh, you broke my heart, you stupid bitch, you know, like, oh, boo this guy, you know, we thought you were metal.
Yeah. Hey man, all that matters is that you're making noise and you're learning and you're getting better, having fun, man. Because you know, my first guitar when I was 13, I think my parents got me like, you know, those like starter kits that it was a crate guitar with a crate amplifier for like $150 or something.
Yeah.
So no joke, my middle brother still has that guitar, and he's restored it at home, and it plays great. It's so weird that, like, you know, just an entry level beater guitar is still around. And I played so many shows, like 13 through 17, with any band I was in that time, which was quite a few. All those shows were played with that crate, and it held up so well, man.
Yeah, you know, I always like when I talk to like my musician friends that are, oh, I got this Music Man, and I got this I don't even know the name of this brand, this like really expensive brand, because they're endorsed, you know, they're like touring the world kind of musician friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to name drop, but I always tell them, like, yeah, but you still suck. It's the player, not the instrument, you know?
Right.
Like, that's an entry-level guitar I've had since the 92, since it came out. And, I mean, no one will ever know. Like, you listen to records, like, oh, it's killer. It's like, yeah, it's that thing. What? Like, I can make that thing sound like blues. It's the player. I'm not saying, like, I'm a really great player, but, like, the instrument doesn't matter. It's what I'm saying. It's I guess, the soul, you know?
I totally agree, man. Pretty much every band I saw growing up that made an impression on me was playing with copy equipment. And you know, there's that really cool quote, I think it's from Dave Grohl, that's like, the best advice you can give young musicians, like, is to just go in the garage and suck for a while until you get.
That's true. Who was it? Steve Vai? Oh man, my guitar teacher told me, and I always forget. Play it until you can't mess it up, or something like that. I forgot. It's such a great quote. I should memorize it. So Requiem, a year later, 2016. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So Daydream was like I said, kind of like getting my feet wet again, just getting back into making music. And like I said, I was always in some kind of band. So that was like Daydreams, like, all right, well, if I can't count on other people, I'm not going to waste all these years of my life not making music. So I took it under my own wing, or took it upon myself rather, to do everything in house and make shit happen. So, you know, Daydream was like getting my feet wet, 4 or 5 songs. Requiem was like, I really took my time and put together a nice full length. And then one of my best friends in the whole world, who's also my tattoo artist, did all my tattoos. He painted that cover for me. So that one has a special place in my heart for sure.
Wow, that's a painting.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. He gave me like, I think in my closet over there, as many times as I've moved, I've held on to certain things. And I think I have about 20 test prints of that he screen printed. So like, you
Wow.
know, yeah, it's really cool. I held on to them. And yeah, that record, I think up until this new one that I have coming out,
Hmm.
that one was my favorite. I think Requiem, just because like where I was living at the time and the creative headspace I was in, and I started getting out there again and like playing shows, networking with our friends in the music scene, and I really feel like I was in a good place when that one came out. You said that was 2016, so
Yeah.
that's 5 years ago. So I was like 28 or something. I mean, arguably, if I was an athlete, I'd be hitting my stride at that age, right?
Yeah. 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 I didn't. The cover is amazing. I'm a sucker for fan art because I'm a, like we talked earlier, I love Pink Floyd, and I mean Opeth
Oh,
has really amazing covers too. But that's
yes.
honestly like that sells me. I'll look at a cover and I'm like, I don't know who this is, but I'm buying it, and I'll buy it and I'll listen to it, and if I end up liking it, great.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Like I didn't know that was painted. I thought maybe they kind of manipulated it on Photoshop, but no. Like now that I'm looking at it closer because I clicked on it, um, it's sick. There's a lot of
Yeah.
detail.
Absolutely. I mean, his for those of you that want to look him up, his name's Andrew Sontimer, and that's Sontaimer. He's a killer tattoo artist out of Pennsylvania, and as well as an visual artist, does all kinds of art media. And like you were saying, I remember walking into a store. I was like, I don't know, 15 or 16, and I had like allowance from on the lawn. It was like $20 something, and this music store was liquidating, so it just had huge piles of CDs on the ground that
Yeah.
were just like, like $5, like grab it and take it. And that's how I discovered Cannibal Corpse,
Oh
because
wow.
I just picked up this album and I was like, holy shit, this is the sickest fucking thing I've ever seen. And it was their album Bloodthirst, which is like, it's like a monster giving birth to another monster, eating another monster. And I was like, dude, I don't care what this sounds like. I'm going to fucking buy it. And then I put it in and I was like, holy shit. Like when I first heard it, coming from like what was on the radio, like Korn and stuff, I was like, dude, this is almost like too extreme for me. Right. But then it's like learning a foreign language. Once your ears used to it, it's like, oh man, I need more, more, more. And now
Yeah.
I'm like an avid collector. I have everything they have, and I look forward to. They use the same artist for every album. I look forward to that next cover that guy's gonna paint.
I know it's exciting to see when they come out with a new album. You're like, I wonder what it's gonna look like, And I
Yeah.
always wonder. Random, but I just remembered Corpse Grinder's neck, man. When is it gonna go back to normal?
Oh, I saw a funny ass meme that said that. It's like, if quarantine doesn't end soon and we can't go back to concerts, his neck might go back to normal.
Oh wow! Actually, that could really happen. For you guys that are not metalheads or don't know who Cannibal Corpse is, it's a death slash speed metal. It's like a
Yeah, yeah.
hardcore metal band, and the singer Corpse Grinder. Um, okay, if you ever watched Ace Ventura, when he's in a nightclub and you hear the metal, that's Cannibal Corpse.
Yes.
All he does is he's headbanging like 90% of the time, and through the years of doing that, his neck muscles or his neck like got bigger and bigger. Now they protrude his head. So the fact that we're in quarantine, that could really happen. Oh
Yeah,
man.
man. But yeah, going back to your idea of, album art being so important, a piece of the puzzle for an album, totally agree. And that's something that I've learned more about as time goes on. That's why with the new record, I really wanted to get something that was going to grab your attention, because music comes out so much and everything's so oversaturated. And, for someone like me that's just doing this on their own, doing it on a very small independent level, it's like you need something that's going to grab someone's attention, or else it's just going to get thrown into the universe and never heard.
It's funny. I thought I was the only one that would buy albums because of the cover, and I just met somebody else. So there's two people that'll buy an album for the cover, and imagine how many other people would buy an album because of your covers.
Yeah, dude. And
You know?
there's like even certain artists that like, if there's like, one thing about metal is like the visual aspect of it is so important that you go earn these artists that they painted so-and-so's cover. So then you see their art on another cover. And it's like, so the guy that does like the Opeth covers also did like a band called Flesh God Apocalypse's covers. And I saw that he did like local San Diego bands covers. Like, wow. I think it was called Psychotic Waltz, something like that. And a metal band. But then, when I saw that he was doing all these covers, I looked the dude up, his Travis Smith, and he actually lives in San Diego. So,
wow.
So I messaged him on Instagram. I'm like, dude, you make some sick album. Like a bunch of albums that I buy have your artwork on it, and he's just like an artist based in San Diego. So,
see, that's so cool. I mean, in local, for us, it's local. So we're,
yeah. And think
San
about,
Diego.
like Pink Floyd, the Storm Thorgerson art,
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Wish You Were Here and all that shit, man. It's like the Division Bell. It's like you associate their music with these iconic images. So.
That's true. I through the years collecting the Floyd albums, I started noticing a pattern. I mean, it could just be me making it up, but I noticed that the cover relates to the last album, kind of like the Division Bell, or like something about one of the recent albums is like hinted or homaged or whatever you call it in there. I think that's I like when bands do that, kind of like with Opeth, how in some of his albums the last sentence he says is the title of the next song or leading up to the next song. I love shit like that. It's super cool.
Me too, man. I love it.
Now, are you a fan of Tom Waits?
Never got into Tom Waits much. I dated a girl that listened to him when I was in college, and it was just where my head was at with like his voice and stuff. But I bet you now that I'm older and more mature, I could definitely find value in it. I was just like an ignorant young person.
No, Tom Waits is not easy to listen to. I mean,
yeah, he sounded like someone that you would like run into at a just been sitting there drinking by himself forever,
Yeah, I'm just sitting here, and relaxing and stuff. Yeah. The only reason why I bring that up is because I'm looking at your other album, Getting Lost, and it reminds me like a Tom Waits. It gives me the cover gives me. I don't mean to offend, but it just it does. Dude. It gives me a Tom Waits, and so I'm like, I wonder if he likes Tom Waits.
I would never be offended by anything, especially if you're in some comparison to an iconic artist like him. But Keep Getting Lost. That was, to be honest, that was the first music I recorded after my move to San Diego.
Oh, really?
And I took that picture as well. It was actually just some palm trees, and I saturated the image and made it black and white and all weird looking. So, but yeah, Keep Getting Lost, right? Like move across the country with no thoughts of what that means for you or anyone else. Just go get lost and figure it out and grow as a person. And that album really touches upon a lot of the feelings that anyone would have when you totally uproot your life and leave everything behind. Is like, that feeling loss and confusion and not uncertainty and all this stuff. But I think I really liked how that record came out. It came from a really pure emotional place, and it definitely got me my first couple shows out here too. So
yeah, it's kind of I guess that would be the beginning of your, because that's the first album you did in San Diego, you said, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the beginning of your San Diego life, and then
yep,
the last album was kind of like in the past. That's sick. That's very, for me, because I love symbolic stuff. So original style, is that just because there's only what I'm seeing here? I don't know if it's an error. There's no songs on here, or just one song. Sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
that one, it is on another record. I can't remember which record it's on. If it's on maybe the June Gloom record, but that song was done like well ahead of the record. So, I got a hold of this girl that was pretty cute that that I used to know from back in Pittsburgh, and I was like, hey, like this picture that you posted, it's like it was like an album cover to me. Do you think that I could use it for this song? And she was like, absolutely, that song is awesome. Let's use it, And so I had one track down that I thought sounded pretty awesome. So put it out as just like a little single thing. I still think that song has one of the best mixes I've ever done, like as far as how the instruments are mixed stuff.
what DAW are you using?
It's kind of funny, but it's GarageBand. But it's only because I have so many amazing plugs. So my middle brother, who's like a full-blown sound designer, composer, electronic musician, etc., was trying to convert me to Ableton for the longest time. But instead, since I'm stubborn and I have a hard time learning new things, and I've just working in this program for he gave me all these awesome plugins like amp simulators,
Oh wow.
vocal presets, Element for keyboards. The craziest one I have, and the most important one I would say, is Ozone for mastering. So you can, master it, match EQ of other songs, and spread the mix to be more stereo, and tweak the reverb and the frequencies and stuff like that. So even though I'm using like a pretty elementary DAW, there's definitely ways to beef it up and make it sound more professional.
That's a great software. I actually recently have been learning because I'm super stubborn. I'm learning Ableton again and Logic Pro, and and I normally don't recommend stuff, but since you're using GarageBand and you do very well with it, I would recommend Logic Pro because it is GarageBand on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. One of the more serious bands I was in the past, the dude had the studio and he was working in Logic, and I'm like, wow, a lot of that looks like the same interface I'm used to using. So that's definitely, actually, I think Logic developed GarageBand, at least the new one. So
that would make sense.
Yeah, so that's definitely next stepping stone. I'm going to need to upgrade my machine here pretty soon. It's about 10 years old and it's running well. But when I do upgrade, I do want to upgrade the DAW too. I've just been so scared because these amazing plugins, I have like hundreds and hundreds of amazing plugins in my garage and that I'm afraid to lose,
Well, if it doesn't, if it's working out, then why bother? If you're great, if you're not limited with the software you have, then you just keep using it,
That's what I've been doing up till now, but with every project you want to take it further, and I'm sure I'll get to a point where I definitely want to get further.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. I record some stuff in GarageBand, depending where I'm at, and then I'll actually export, or if I create, like if I'm doing a song with a rapper, and I'll go and do something on GarageBand, and then I'll export that and put it in my other DAW, which I do everything with. But I mean, you could do that also. I mean, I think you can use both. It's compatible. I mean, I'm very ignorant when it comes to the two softwares, even though they're very similar. But I'm pretty sure you could use that. And I only recommend it because it is literally GarageBand's on steroids. It's just there's a lot more features to it. So
yeah, and the aspect of automation too, So.
Yes, automation's very important. I learned the hard way.
Yeah, same. And that's like I've been in a lot of those tricks manually when there's way easier ways to do it with automation.
Yeah. All right, next album. I dig the cover because I'm a stargazer. Divine Guide. What's that one about?
Yeah, so Divine Guide is kind of a continuation off of the Keep Getting Lost, except I feel like I channeled into some different influences on that one. So the track Divine Guide, it, to the listener, it might not sound like it, but I really that song, I just had this like Nine Inch Nails type idea I was working off of,
Hmm.
which is like one of my favorite artists. But it adding like my own touch to it, so it's like kind of an indie rock song, but it also had this like layering type thing where it started out small and then it grew into this huge thing, and by the end it's like a full-blown guitar solo crazy like Mars type jam. you
Wow.
know so that track was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna make a new batch of songs because I really like this one. And then um, over time, I think that song is a good example of when you let having the ability to add so many tracks just like get away from you a little bit. And then
Hmm.
I kind of reeled it back in. I'm like, okay, not everything needs to have like X amount of tracks, So I'm trying to, especially as I go forward, I'm trying to learn more restraint, and that, sometimes simplicity is good.
That's true. Yeah. Depending on the excuse me, depending on the song, like you're saying, um, I I remember one time we were in high school. I had a buddy. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna need 30 channels for the bass," and we're like, "What?
Oh my gosh.
Get the fuck out of here!" And then as we got older and started actually learning engineering, we're like, "Dude, he was actually kind of right."
Yeah. Yeah. If you have like a totally pro recording setup, you're recording. I mean, the reason a pro recorded drum sounds so good is all these little overhead mics that are picking up. You have like a mic on the kick, a mic on the snare, a mic on the hi-hat, but then you have four overheads that pick up all this crazy ambient noise. That's
Yeah.
what makes it sound alive.
I did an album years ago, and I this was before I even knew anything about recording. This guy put uh, a microphone up in the speaker, a microphone behind it, a microphone behind it. I'm sorry, in front of it. So that's three, and then did a shotgun, like two shotguns and an angle on another speaker. And I was like,
Yep.
why? And I looked at my singer. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? And when we heard it back and we saw how many channels he had, we asked him, I was like, why'd you do that? Because of this. He starts soloing, and then you just hear how thin the guitar is. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's crazy, like how they so many, just for one instrument you have so many microphones.
Totally. So
So do you, when you record? Go ahead.
oh yeah, going back to your question about Done Guide, the title itself is in reference to just my belief in music. It's like music is the one thing that humans have, that art is freedom. Music is the divine guide. I'm not a religious person, but I think the closest experiences I've had to religious experiences are always traced back to music.
Yeah.
And so I think music is a divine guide that will take you where you need to go, whether it's back inside yourself to reflect or outside and make you see the world differently. Sound is very, very powerful, and music is divine guide for sure.
I have to agree with you. My drummer friend told me that music is such essential and key to life that when we're in our mother's womb, what do we hear? We hear the heartbeat, and that's rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's insane. So I 100% agree with you. Music changes people's lives, and it makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes it better. It does so much. It makes you remember, makes you
It's
forget.
magic.
Yeah, it's amazing, like how it
It's so
influences.
powerful.
I was gonna ask you, when you're recording, do you record? I know this is a weird question. I've never asked anyone this, but
Sure.
do you record direct in, or do you mic your amp or?
For the most part, it's all direct. I have a preamp. I've used pods in the past.
Mhm.
But if I'm really trying to get like a room sound, then I will mic up a little. Like I have like a little blues cube band that a local guy named Bob gifted me, that I met on Craigslist. He just asked me if I wanted to go out to dinner with him and his wife around Christmas time. And he's like, "Here, I bought this amp." I'm like, "Whoa, really?" So that has a pretty cool sound too. If you want to, you could use a condenser mic to capture anything. Um, I don't have like a 57 here, but I know those are really good for snare drums and guitars. But
Yeah.
as far as I just have a basic condenser mic, and that picks the amps good too. If I'm trying to get a more natural, wide open sound, that's what I'll do to get that real sound. But there's also a lot of the amp modelers and stuff that I have where you
Yeah.
can mimic where mic is situated to get more of that sound, but it's not the real thing.
Yeah, that the modulators really blow my mind
Yeah.
on how they make things, sound. Okay, so Rootless.
Yeah.
So you said it's gonna come out on the 12th.
February 12th. That's
Okay,
correct.
so here, just so I'm aware. Okay, so you can sample the tracks, but you can buy them right now.
Actually, yeah. When I got the CDs in the other day, so I just made 50 CDs because I there's people out there like me that still like to hold physical stuff, even though most people scratch their it's like, who buys a CD in 2021? But I do still. Um,
A lot of people do. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's just I like to have the physical thing, so I made 50 of those. But everyone else, I get the whole streaming digital thing. It allows you to access way more music that way that you can't afford to buy it all. So it will obviously be streaming everywhere on the 12th. But yeah, like you said, for the time being, it's kind of like those that make the effort from my Instagram profile to click on the Bandcamp link, or those that listen to this podcast and get the Bandcamp link. It's already up there. You can listen to the whole album for you can buy the album if you want the MP3s. You can buy one of these CDs. I've been blown away by the amount of support I got already in the first 2 days I've had them. Started with 50, I'm down to 30 something right now, so I've almost recouped about half of the cost it cost to do this distribution and pressing and buying the artwork, which is a thing to me, because I mean, this is all just grassroots, do it yourself, organic fan base. I haven't run any ads yet. I haven't put it on Reddit. I've done your
Wow.
podcast. I was fortunate enough to have Tim Piles from 91X play my songs the other night on his loudspeaker show.
Nice.
Yeah, so shout out to Tim. That's amazing. Thank you very much. That ended up, having a couple hundred views there on my Instagram, and I think people probably bought the record because of that too. So, a little launch behind it. Even though it's just me making the sounds in my bedroom, it's pretty surreal that are spending their money on it and they're finding value, and that's amazing to me. So,
Are you planning on doing a virtual show?
man, I haven't even thought about that. I don't know if I'm to the point where there would be an audience for that yet. But even if there wasn't an audience, it was just like a few friends or my fiance tuning in. I guess I could think about something like that. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
You'd be surprised. I didn't follow the YouTube train until the pandemic hit, and I went live once, and I was surprised. I'm like, wow, someone's actually watching me being an idiot right now. And then when I ended it, my page refreshed, and I had like 300 views. I was like, what the? I guess
amazing.
it was a sweet spot. Like, it was like everyone was home at the same time. It was perfect timing. I was like, no, just people were like, oh, he's on live. So you'd be surprised, dude. Like, I would recommend it. I recommend everybody that comes on the show that's a musician or even an artist, or, I'm like, dude, now is the time to do it.
It is.
If you're ever going to do it now. Because there's a lot of people looking for stuff. Man. Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'll tune in. Shit, the whole, everyone will tune in. You'll have at least 3 extra people.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, That's amazing. Wow, 300 people watching your live stream. That's pretty awesome. And I think that speaks volumes to the fact that, right now, a lot of people cooped up at home, and they have been for almost a year at this point. It's like, I think I was just explaining this to a friend earlier. When we're on our normal day-to-day free last March, we're constantly barraged with marketed new stuff. So it's like, okay, here's a new album, here's a new movie, here's a new concert, here's the new clothes, blah, blah, blah. When all of that stopped last March, it almost gave all of us time to reflect on what currently exists, what we already have, go back through your old records or the new music that's coming out. It's like, it's not like fast food anymore where people listen to it and then it's on to the next thing. I really think that people are taking more time to consume music and art and movies and literature now more than they did in the past, because it's almost providing a lifeline to these people. And I think people are yearning for that live music experience, and they're yearning for new music. And I just really think that, maybe that has a little bit to do with why people are supporting this record of mine, or why people are supporting that live stream of yours, is like, people are really hurting for some kind of connection. And so music and art and live performances, they offer those things that we're all missing so much right now. Because, not to sound cheesy or cliche, but at the end of the day, I mean, we all really do need each other,
That is true. That is very true. Because
and when you take it away, you got to find new ways to do it, like you just said.
yeah, because if you don't, it's so funny how people take people for granted. Even, the joke that went around that, oh, the introverts, they're so happy we're in lockdown. And then some introverts came out and said, no, we're not. Just because we're introvert doesn't mean we don't like to go out. We don't like to watch other people do stuff, and we take people's company for granted, I feel, because if in hindsight, you go to the grocery store, someone's stocking the shelves. If without that person, what are you're gonna go to the field and pick it yourself? You know what I mean? Like, we need each other, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, man, I was just, I've said a few times to my fiance that what I miss most about this is going to shows at Brick by Brick, which is my favorite local venue.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
And, I said, being in a room full of smelly dudes with BO all packed together and paying $12 for a beer never sounded so good.
It's true. Like, I love dive bars, and I miss going to them.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, the things you take for granted. I'm very lucky, and I'm thankful that I made so much effort to catch every show that I could afford that I wanted to go to when I had the chance. Because now, I mean, it's been over a year since I was able to go see a show, and it's not looking like they're coming back anytime soon either.
No, I don't think so. I mean, like, I know people are doing live stream. I mean, the location I'm at, I think they're doing a live stream right now. They do live.
Are you at Rock and Roll San Diego?
I sure is.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, I was looking at your page. It said Sports Arena. I'm like, is he at Rock and Roll San Diego?
Yeah, I have my studio here, and you pass my studio on the way to the Hendricks Hall. Shout out to Rock and Roll.
That's badass, man. Yeah, I've been there a handful of times to go rehearse, like before a show or something, and they always had a super awesome staff. And
oh yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, and like the first time I was there, they had like fucking Ace Frehley signed shit on the wall.
Yeah.
And a cattle decapitation drumhead, so they must have practiced there too.
It's surprising how many bands rehearse here that are big bands. I discovered one of my friends' father, who's he's a touring musician, big musician. He practiced here, and I was like, what? And I was like, dude, was he here? He's like, yeah, he practiced. I was like, holy shit, what's he doing in town? Legit. Yeah, no, I mean, it's rehearsal space. It's a rehearsal space, and you're a musician. You'll take whatever you can when it's available, especially when you're traveling. luckily this place is I've never I'm from LA, and
Oh, cool.
I've owned a lot of studios out there, or I've had a lot of studios out there, and so far this has been the best, most accommodating. I'm not kissing ass. Like, they know I'll talk shit. Like, it's so nice. It's so cool. Like, for example, that amp I have behind me, it needed some work done. And instead of me driving it to LA or driving it to Guitar Center for them to tell me to drive it to another place, the guy does it here for you.
Yeah.
It's so convenient. And I'm like, hey, man, can you fix this? Yep. It'll be this much. Just fix it. Because, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's so cool. And, I mean, the staff is awesome. And, I've been blessed that I found this place, because I've been trying to look for a studio for about a year and a half. Couldn't find one, and then I ran into this one. I'm like, fuck yeah. Hell
for sure,
yeah.
man. Yeah, you're right by Soma, so.
Say again?
We're right by the Soma too, yeah.
Hell yeah. Dude, I wanted to ask you.
Yep.
Have you ever played on the spot live?
Maybe a time or two.
Would you be interested in doing a song for us?
I could try, yeah, sure.
Dude, let's hear it.
Yeah, give me just a second here.
Sure. I love putting people on the spot. It's awesome.
Obviously, it's going to have to be acoustic.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Since you have a record coming out, do you mind playing one of those songs?
Yeah, I'll see which ones I know, seeing as how they all have so many tracks,
Let me That's my favorite song.
That's how you know it's on the spot, when you can't find a pick, So if you don't mind, because I'm kind of having a lapse in memory right now, I'm going to do a cover, because I've played this one a few times.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'll try this one. It's Lucky by Radiohead. I feel my love could change. Kill me, Sarah. Kill me again with love. It's gonna be a glorious day. So for me out of the air crash, for me out of the lane, I'm your superhero, and we're standing on the edge. The head of state has called for me by name, but I don't have time for him. It's gonna be a glorious day. I feel my luck could change. So pull me out of the air crash. Pull me out of the rain. 'Cause I'm your superhero. Oh, and we're staring on the edge. Something like that.
I forgot my mic was on. I was talking. Dude, that's sick.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, I was just, pulling it out of my butt, but
It's not, it's not easy. Everybody knows that. When I have a musician on here, they're like, "Is he gonna do it? Is he does it all the time." So I'm happy you did it. That's awesome, man. It's not easy just doing it on the spot, and
oh yeah,
and that sounded fucking amazing. Like such a killer voice. Killer voice. You weren't kidding. You are definitely a singer.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So when you're performing or when you're playing, because I was watching you play like a creep. Radiohead. What do you feel? Are you in the moment, or do you go like somewhere else in the past, or like what's going through your head at that time?
Man, well, when you really get into it, it's almost like you're not even thinking about it. It's like autopilot,
Yeah, it's kind of dreamy.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple, it's like, what can you compare it to? Maybe like running, like the first couple minutes really suck, and then your body just like levels out, and when you're in the zone, you can just kind of run and stop.
Yeah, that's actually a great comparison.
Yeah, same with getting tattooed. Like the first like 10 or 15 minutes, it's like, holy fuck, that hurts, right? It's like, but then your adrenaline kicking or whatever, and you kind of go numb, and you could sit through it until it's over.
Oh, my favorite's when they go back. They go back and start coloring it. Oof.
Yeah. Well, the lines are always the worst part, and then the shading is a little more tolerable, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It depends on what they're shading, I guess, because I've had some. I have some ink and I've had some shading where I was like, dude, stop. That I don't know what you're doing. Are you like cutting into me, like literally? Like I know you're stabbing me with needles at like 1,000 punctures a second, but like, what are you doing? Like it's crazy. It's a crazy feeling.
I bet. I mean, every tattoo artist has a different hand. Some of them are more heavy-handed, but yeah, I mean, as far as playing music or even jamming with a few guys, I think it's all about getting into that zone, So like, that was the first time I picked up a guitar and sang or played, and man, I'm not even gonna lie, like a couple weeks. So
felt good, didn't it?
So yeah, it does feel good, but it's also like muscle memory. Like if you don't use it, you lose it. So you got to get back to it. And the thing is with like making a record like Rootless, some of those songs were on my computer for a year, and then
Oh,
I
really?
like gradually got back to them. Like wake up one day, record a bass riff or a guitar riff over a drum loop, and then that's all it is, like 4 or 8 measures. And then you come back to it like 3 months later and you piece it together more, maybe add a chorus or a bridge. And then you come back 6 months later and finally feel inspired to write some lyrics. And it's like, so it's almost like you're acting as every member of the band at different times,
Yeah, that's it's a hard process. Typically, when you write a song, how do you write a song normally?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So it's like I'll wake up on a Saturday feeling inspired. I'll start playing my guitar and then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to start a new project file here. So maybe record like 4 to 8 measures with like some cool riff, or write part A and part B, and
Mm-hmm.
then base the song off of that. Make a guitar, add the bass, add maybe a second lead track, and then add some keys like ambient keys or something. Start
Mm-hmm.
piecing it together, and then you can reapproach it at a later time. I think it's always necessary to spend a while away from your music and then come back with a fresh set of ears, because you'll hear things that you didn't otherwise. And then that's when I feel inspired to like actually write lyrics and stuff.
Yeah, that's the greatest advice ever. I mean, because you're listening. You remember you get ear fatigue, and you're listening to the same thing over and over, and you're mixing it, and all of a sudden that one section sounds different.
Yeah.
And when you walk away, and like recommended, if you're doing it yourself, I mean, I personally recommend walk away for like 2-3 weeks. Then go.
Totally, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I listened to the final mix of this and uploaded it and got it pressed or whatever, like I didn't want to hear it again for a long time, because it was like I've been living with this music for so long, and it's just like I've been holding on to it. And then when you finally send it away and it's just like, all right, if it's I guess it's quote unquote done now, but I could keep dissecting it forever.
Yeah.
So at some point you got to just draw the line, send it away. It's no longer yours. And then hopefully in time, when you spend time away from it, you can appreciate it again.
Have you ever what's the longest it's taken you to do an album?
This was the longest one.
Oh, really? How
Yeah.
long? What's the total process?
I think most of them are probably like 6 to 8 months, or like if I'm doing just 5 songs, maybe like 4 months or something. But if I'm doing like 9 songs, maybe like 6 to 8 months. But this one is 10 songs, and one of the ideas was meant for an earlier project, which I never finished, from 2018. The rest of them are were from some point last year, but it's like there were so many like moments of doubt, or like moments of just not being inspired, maybe because of like whatever the hell else was happening in my life, or maybe work was particularly daunting, or the whole quarantine thing, or it's just like it's hard to get in the right headspace and feel inspired, and you never want to like make stuff that's not coming from a real spot, because then I think the listener can ultimately sense that if you're faking it, or you're just forcing it because you think you need to. I think you got to wait until it's pure. So this one took about a year. So this is the longest gap I've had since 2015 in between releases, but it's like I think it paid off. I think a couple of my friends who heard it were like, wow, dude, this is some of the best stuff you've made. And I feel confident in it as well, because it really took my time this time.
Wow, that's amazing. So there you have it, guys. You can I recommend picking up the album. Just buy it. Support your local musician, and I mean, you heard it here. I mean, the dude's got a killer voice, and I'm sure you guys are gonna click on the links and follow him, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Just follow, incredible stuff, dude. I want to thank you for doing this, man. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Man, back at you, man. I really, like I said, I appreciate any exposure. This is the first podcast I've ever done. it went naturally. I was like talking to an old friend pretty much, so
Well,
I
I'm glad.
appreciate you having me on, and I'm super stoked that you've given me this platform to plug the music I have coming out. So
Oh, hell
yeah,
yeah.
if anyone wants to check it out, February 12th, you could stream it anywhere, or a Bandcamp, you can buy it and stream it right now. And if you live in San Diego, hell, I'll deliver it to you if you want.
Nice. You guys heard that. Song and Dance, deliver the album. Before we end the show, I want to actually jump on your name.
Yeah.
So we talked about it earlier. Okay, obviously
Yeah.
I pronounced it like a Hispanic because I'm part Hispanic. But you but you did tell me that people called you. Would you say koala?
Yeah. It's funny because
It's not even close.
I know, man. Yeah. So it's like Colao. Right? It's Italian, but there's way more Italians on the East Coast than there are out here. So it's like my
Very
buddy,
true. Very true.
who comes from Mexican heritage. Like I went over to his house and his grandpa was speaking Spanish to me. He thought I was Spanish, but yeah, like my Mexican friends are like, "Oh, you kind of look Spanish. Like you could be from Spain or something." I'm like, "No, I'm Italian and it's Colao." But yeah, people have said koala, people have said cola. It's like a common thing throughout my life in school and stuff that the last name baffles people for some reason, but it's just strong vowels.
It's an awesome name. Shout out to Italians.
Yeah.
To all the Italian brothers and sisters out there.
There you go, man. Well,
dude,
hey, hopefully we can do this again sometime. I greatly appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I would love to have you back on. I normally when I have someone on, they're releasing an album in a few months or a music video. Like this rapper, he's actually filming his music video now. He's gonna release it soon, so he's gonna come back on the show. We're gonna talk about that. So,
Nice.
yeah, maybe like in a month or two, just kind of give everybody an update on what you've been up to and what you're doing.
For sure. And at that point, maybe I'll have transcribed some of these new songs to acoustic version, so I'll be more ready to perform for you. And then I'll also have maybe a little bit of a plan for some kind of live stream, like you said.
That'd be sick. You let me know if you do a live stream. I will definitely push it for you.
All right, cool, man. Well, thank you very much.
All right, and for you viruses, we'll see you next week.